Okay, so today we're going on a road trip, which should be lots of fun. I'm heading out to see Devil and Sons guitar, coming right up. Yeah, so Daniel was in touch with me a little while ago and we agreed that it'd be great for me to go and see his workshop facility. So that's exactly where I'm heading to today, and very much looking forward to it. And hopefully I'm just about to turn off and into his road. It's an absolutely beautiful day today, and sun is shining and there's not a cloud in the sky. Yeah, so I'm really hoping that this is going to be a fun video for you guys, and also a big fun video for me as well. So yeah, I've really been looking forward to this. It's been in the planning for some time. Hey folks, and here I am at Devil and Sons Guitar, and I'm really delighted to be chatting today to Daniel. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Really good to see you. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll add before we start that both of us took a lateral flow test last night and we are both negative, hence why we're able to be indoors and this close and chatting. So really good to know.
Yeah,
really good to know.
Definitely worth mentioning.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me out here today. It's been really, really lovely to come out and see the amazing workshop that you've built in your garden. How long did it take you to build this?
Well, I should have let you know before. I didn't build it. I had someone else build it for me.
Oh, right, okay.
But they actually spent, it should have been a quick process, but for various delays, it was about 6-7 months. And it really shouldn't have taken that long. And it was quite a problem because I just packed up my old workshop to move here.
Right.
And all my equipment, all my guitars were in storage for half a year, and
man,
kind of delayed the way I work quite a lot.
Right.
But then, you know, once it was ready, it was brilliant.
What an absolutely beautiful place. Well, really, really great facility here. You've got a lot of space, you've got great machines and stuff. And I understand that you come from a design background, so can you fill it in for my friends out there, just sort of where you come from and what inspired you to start working on guitars as well as general design work?
Yeah, great. So I'll do a bit of looking at both of you.
Yeah,
hi
okay.
Yeah, so basically, my background is as an artist. I studied art at university, and when I left university, I immediately went into a studio space where I started making artwork. And that went on for quite a few years, and part of what I was doing was making artwork for display, and part of what I was doing was education-based work, where I would be a lot of my time walking around galleries. Like I've been working at Tate for 20 years, taking people around and talking to them about art, and they're trying to get their personal interpretations of it.
Yeah.
And what I noticed was happening is I was having less time to make my art because I was doing the education work, and the gaps between making art, I was talking about art, I was talking about great art, and I sort of realised that my art wasn't great. or that I just wasn't, I was over analysing what I was doing. So but by the time I got back to doing the work, I could see the problems with it. It wasn't flowing so well. And I wasn't really enjoying putting artwork on display in galleries.
Right.
So I decided I wanted to make something more physical and tangible that people could use, and then there'd be a way of judging something, as in if it is successful.
Yeah.
And particularly what I wanted to do was work with people to help them design something that was unique to them.
Right.
Because I feel like through the education work and talking to people all the time, I'm really good at helping people voice their opinions and their ideas about things.
Yeah.
So the idea of making something for someone that we kind of co-design was really appealing. And throughout that whole period, I've been playing in bands. Right. And I'd always been doing things on my own guitars. Cool. So I just decided one day, why don't I see if I can try and maybe sell one of these guitars? that I was customising.
Yeah.
So I spent maybe 4 or 5 months customising different guitars and learning how to do it. I went on a great course at what was the Sir John Cass School of Art. It was part of London Metropolitan University, and they had an instrument making department, which was incredible. It had all these old kind of tools that looked like they'd been handmade generations ago.
Yeah.
And they had different departments that worked on building and tuning pianos, making stringed instruments, and then the particular focus on guitars. But one of the first courses I did there was on finishing, wood finishing, so doing French polishing and modern finishing like spraying. And then I started doing an acoustic guitar making course. But I realised that I was sort of more interested in going back to my roots, as
Mad Electrics.
Yeah, well, kind of what I did at university was sculpture and
Right.
making things out of clay and resin and wood.
Right.
And I was more interested in sculpting into and chopping up guitars.
So you're a real kinesthetic person. You like to do physical stuff and make physical stuff. Just out of interest, what sort of music were you into in your bands?
So all of the bands I were in, I would definitely describe as rock bands.
Okay.
And with a kind of, like the guitarist in the last band was a massive Steve Vai fan.
Right.
And it really showed in the way he wrote the songs.
Yeah.
But I think our songs were more like with pop melodies, really.
Okay. Well, I would say, looking at some of the guitars that you've got around and some of these amazing instruments, which you guys will be seeing in this video as we go through, I can definitely see the rock influence. I mean, look at this, for example. This is
Shall I hold it up?
Yeah, please do. So tell us a little bit about this. That's amazing.
Well, one of the other things I really wanted to do was make things when I make them to then sell, as opposed to working with someone to design something.
Yeah.
I want to make something that meets my interests.
Of course.
And I'm really into science fiction and things like that. So this came out of this one says 8 on the back.
Right.
I can't remember offhand if I made another one since. I think I have.
Oh, wow.
But they came out of really that kind of Mad Max.
You obviously this is sort of Blade Runner stroke Mad Max influence, but you say you made stuff for Alien. Tell us a little bit about those as well.
Yeah, so they were some of the first ones I made, and at the time I was thinking equally about form and function.
Right.
Because for me, the sort of guitar you play, what it looks like, says a lot about you.
Oh.
So, as easy as picking the colour of your guitar, or are you a Strat guy, or are you a BC Rich person?
Yeah.
It can be quite different. So with these Alien ones, it was really based around my own interest in that kind of sci-fi.
Yeah.
So one of them, the body had a face hugger across it, and the head was a chest burster. And then I made a few where it was really a xenomorph, the big alien head.
Right.
And they were playable, but obviously a big xenomorph head makes it a bit less playable.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's your everyday guitar. And actually, the very first one of those I sold, the person said he just bought it for display.
Right.
So it's happened like that a bit. So in fact, there's someone I'm working with now. It's the third guitar I've made for him, and he cosplays as Judge Dredd. So we're making, I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. It's either, the few designs I've sent him are either that the body will be the sort of Judge Dredd logo, the badge that he wears, or it might have Judge Dredd on it.
Okay.
But I pitched that as something that's more for him to add to his collection of Judge Dredd things than to...
I can see a lot of these being real focal pieces. I can understand why some people would, even if they don't play guitar, would love to have a piece of artwork to display on the wall. I can see these sort of things going into places like Hard Rock Cafe and places like that. Would you do commissions and stuff for that?
Oh yeah, well, like I said, my favourite thing to do is commissions.
Commissions, yeah.
And if the person that's buying the guitar wants to use it in a certain way, that's totally valid.
Yeah.
Like I would never say to someone, I'm not sending you a guitar because I don't like the music you're going to play on it.
Right, okay, yeah.
So, but yeah, I do often describe myself as an artist that makes guitars. I don't like, I mean, it's semantics saying, am I a luthier or a guitar maker? but I definitely wouldn't say I'm a luthier, because I think that's disrespectful to those people who have spent so long studying and are sort of master woodworkers.
Yeah.
And although my knowledge of the guitar and how to build one has really increased over the now 7 years I've been doing it.
7 years, right?
It's not the same, I don't think, as somebody who's kind of dedicated their life to it, whereas I'm as much interested in the sculptural elements and things like that as how the guitar works.
Definitely. I mean, you can see that in your work. Your work is inspirational.
Thank you.
No, I haven't seen anything that I can see over the other end there, which I'll show you in a moment, guys. There's a Millennium Falcon bass, and it's like that. It's just so imaginative.
So I brought that out just to show you, really,
right,
because it links into the newest guitars I'm making, which I'll also show you.
Right.
But it was one of the early ones I did when I was making the Alien ones. I was thinking about that idea of cigar box guitars, where people just get, a box and string it up as a guitar.
Yeah.
And there's a whole craft behind that.
Yeah.
And I started trying to find things that would work like that, like games consoles and things.
Right.
But what happened was I'd seen that meme that was going around at the time about the Rebel bass, or this is the guitar you're looking for.
Rebel bass, I love it.
And it was at the time it was always a mocked up image.
Yeah.
So I started to make one with an old.
That's amazing.
Unfortunately, so I moved here 3 years ago, and it's been in storage the whole time. I unwrapped it last night, and it seems to not be working. But it's got a bit damaged in the movement. And I've got it out because my wife's a massive Star Wars fan, so I want to hang it on the wall in there.
It's incredible. So this is the Rebel bass. With
DR neon strings.
Oh wow! And look at the one next to it.
So these are the ones I'm working on now.
Yeah.
So this is my old Epiphone SG. So this was actually my second electric guitar I ever bought. And
wow.
So is it on this one? So this has actually got some bits of that Millennium Falcon on it.
Oh right, yeah.
It's got some bits from a tank, like an Airfix model tank. Some water pistol bits around the edge. On the back, there's a bit of a remote control.
Oh man!
And there's some things from a light fitting. One of them's got a lateral flow test on it.
That is incredible. And look at these as well. The gold one.
Yes, so basically they're not going to be gold and silver.
Right.
These are the base coat. So they've had the primer on and etc. So all this is solid. And then I'm just at the moment darkening up some areas.
I was going to say you're going to dirty them up to make them look a bit more like.
Yeah, and then add colour to it. So the silver and the gold will shine through the colour.
Wow. That is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Here's the inside of a lateral flow test. Waiting to be done. And somewhere there's a front of one as well.
Well, that's great. That is amazing. And there's another bass neck as well. Which one's that going on? The gold one?
Yeah, so I'm going to try and put a floating bridge on this.
Wow.
I don't know.
A floating bridge on a bass. That's interesting. That is really interesting.
The worst that can happen is I change it.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be worth giving it a go. But it then transpired that there was somebody in America that had made a number of these out of different Star Wars toys, and he'd been quite inspirational to other people, and now there's a lot of people that really make
them. Yeah.
But it was that idea of working with the toys, and those, like my YouTube subscriptions are guitar makers, people talking about guitars, people that do cosplay, people talking about 80s toys and sci-fi related things. And I just find that sort of feeds into what I'm doing.
Absolutely. And you'll find all the links below for Daniel's channel as well. So go and check that out, because there's all this great stuff to view. So it's quite clear that you've got an incredible imagination. Do most of your creations and artwork come from here, or are they mostly now commissions and things that people have asked you to build?
Well, the last year and a half has been a bit strange.
Yeah, of course.
So there's been actually what I've done most in the last year and a half is just people have been sending me guitars to respray.
Right.
And often that is just simple colours.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a bit more creative,
Yeah.
or just doing setups and things.
Okay.
Because people playing their guitars more, and but you know, one thing that is happening is some people do have more money to be spending on things.
Absolutely.
So I have done two main things that aren't the sort of resprays, etc., over the last year and a half.
Right.
One of them I'll show you in a minute is I've got 3 guitars on the go which are sci-fi themed.
Wow.
That are unlike the Millennium Falcon where I took an actual existing toy.
Yeah.
These are what we might call scratch built or kit bashed. So
Right.
I've taken lots of everyday things and tried to assemble them into a guitar.
Kit bash.
Yeah, so that's another thing that I follow on YouTube a lot, is people that make robots or make spaceships out of things like fairy liquid bottles and
Yeah.
sticking things on. Except I've got to make sure everything I use is durable.
Yes.
So I can't use certain types of things like the fairy liquid bottles because
Bit too squishy. Yeah. I see as well. You've got a lovely skull head.
Yeah.
there.
That's a light. I'm just in the process of painting it, but the eyes are light.
The eyes are lights. Wow, that is amazing. But that kind of thing, you can just see the imagination and the creativity that goes into making something like that. Where do you get that inspiration?
Yeah.
Is it mainly? Do you think it's a lot to do with your background and your training, or do you think it's kind of like just comes out of left field and
So thanks for saying that. Definitely having studied art, been an artist,
yeah,
and taught art. Like I've been doing a bit of teaching over lockdown online with
Right.
people, trying to help them discover if art is a career they want to go into.
right, brilliant,
Because of that, I always want to be making things.
of course,
So, for example, that skull light that you were talking about,
yeah,
I'm back to that kit bashing idea. One of the people I follow on YouTube who does the kit bashing, YouTube and Instagram, he made a lamp himself that was made out of a skull like that.
Right.
And that made me think, oh, I'd like to give that a go, because I had on the side of my bandsaw this light that moved around,
yeah,
and I had some plastic, as you do, plastic skeletons around,
Yeah.
From a series of guitars I made with
As you
skulls.
do.
Yeah. Well, I've got like a drawer behind you of alien bits. And
oh, so there is,
so that was what inspired that, and,
Right.
and I think thinking back to the Millennium Falcon and watching these other people making these spaceships and robots
yeah,
made me want to do something, and because obviously the guitar is my focus, that's where that came from.
yeah,
So that's back to your earlier question, that's one of the things that's been happening
right,
where I've been sort of focusing my creativity. But the other thing is, like with this one,
yeah,
it's in parts at the moment, but it's almost finished. I need a bit of a polish.
oh, it's amazing,
This is the second guitar I've designed with someone called Dr. Gothic. So
Oh,
that's
right.
his stage name.
okay,
And the first one was a real steampunk kind of cog thing for a concept album he's
Yeah.
doing. And then he's about to record his new album, and he wanted something he said was sci-fi and futuristic. That
right,
he said came from a time of parallel universes, and
wow,
well, he sent me a description basically.
yeah,
And my response to his description of talking about it being like a crystal form
yeah,
was that it reminded me of the Fortress of Solitude, the place where Superman lives. If you
love it,
if you
yes,
can
I do
picture that.
remember, yeah,
So
yeah.
we just had a back and forth with me sending him images and like creating a mood board and a conversation.
Yeah.
And then that evolved into drawings. So this was the final drawing actually.
Oh wow,
So you can see it.
Yeah,
And then we have a drawing, but then when I'm making it, I've kind of got a plan
And
that it evolves as we do it.
Absolutely.
It's constantly asking him questions. What does he like? And
creative,
things like
creative process. So it's the backwards and forwards, and also
It's a
finding
conversation,
bits.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so incredible to see the amazing ideas that come out of your mind, and that seeing you developing things like that and creating from a kind of a design brief, but not quite. I think that's really innovative. I don't know of anybody else that's doing this in the realm of guitar at the moment, and I think it's really, really interesting. I think it's mind-blowing to see some of the designs that you've made.
Great, thanks.
And
Yeah.
absolutely, credit where credit's due. the finishing on these and the detailing is just, well, it's outstanding. It really does look great, and they don't feel like guitars, they don't look like guitars, but they're all functional, well set up and playing guitars.
Yes,
which is amazing.
The aim is that you can play them, that they look good and they change your persona on stage, or you know, if you've got multiple guitars, you play different guitars depending on how you're feeling, and that affects what you're playing. Absolutely. And that's what I'm hoping with these.
Absolutely. So going forward, if people want to get in touch with you and come up with maybe a concept for you to build and collaborate with them on, where do they get in touch with you? Direct through YouTube, through email, through Facebook? Where would you prefer?
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to anything. On my website, you can access my email address. I'll give you everything to put up at the end.
Brilliant.
But actually, what I've noticed recently, and the thing I'm loving about YouTube, as well as the community, like I don't have a community like yours, but I am having very long, ongoing conversations with people I've met through YouTube, and exactly the same for Instagram. And a lot of my work seems to come from people saying, "Oh, we saw you did this on YouTube. Can you do something like that for us?" Which is why I'm now spending so much time filming all my builds.
Wow.
Just because also it's quite fun to look back at the process.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Hopefully some build footage to show you guys as well, to see this creative process. I think for me, the real inspiration behind this is the creativity, is the thing that makes this unique, very different and very special, because I just don't see this kind of thing being built. Obviously, there are guitars out there, there are concept guitars, there's always been concept guitars, but to find a builder that is really just focused on creating art, that where would you say, okay, here's a difficult question for you, is your work mostly artistic or mostly about guitar and functionality?
Well, I do think about that, and I think my opinion is tainted by my experience of making artwork for galleries,
right,
and finding it a strange competitive area to be in.
Yeah.
And although I still have friends that are artists, and some of them are successful and some of them aren't, it's not something I want to be part of.
Right.
So I think at the back of my mind, I would rather see someone playing this as a guitar than seeing it in an exhibition.
Absolutely, and that's great, because at the end of the piece, they're functional and they're designed to be played, not just to be artworks or props for a video or a film. And also, just finally, if I may, I've been absolutely dying to see some of your deconstructed guitars, and I see you've got one there.
I'll grab it over.
Yeah.
So this was I'll sit back down for a second, I think.
That's cool. Look at this.
This was one of the first series of guitars I made. So I've made quite a few of them now. They were originally all Strats. I've made a couple of Tellys. I haven't made a bass yet, but the idea came from relicking, you know, that whole idea of the debates that happen online over relicking being so extreme, and I thought I just wanted to do something that was a bit silly, and then it turned out people actually quite like things.
You don't get much more relic than that. I mean, seriously, this looks like it's been in a plane crash.
So it definitely isn't made to look like a real relic. It doesn't look like these things have naturally happened.
No.
It's meant to be over the top.
Yeah, of course.
And I've evolved the way I make them a bit. So actually, I've made two more since this one, where I make the headstock a slightly different way.
Right.
But essentially it's the same, and a lot of it is I've burned into areas, I've chopped bits up, but then I've painted into it to reinforce the broken look of it.
And functional apart from the centre pickup.
So I thought it's really important to have a pickup like this that's really out of place to add to the sort of odd looking of it. So it's now got a three-way
rather than the five-way. I just spotted that. Oh, that is I just think that this is again something for me that is so creative and so innovative, and I think that they're my two words that I would sum up describing what you're doing, is very, very creative, highly innovative. And to have something like this, which is still a functional, I've just been playing chords on it, a functional guitar that still works, and yet is a comment and is a bit of a, I'm not a big relic fan, you see, and so to see somebody do this is almost like, dare I say, a middle finger to the, to the relicing trade. And well, I would prefer to play this than a relic guitar, because I love the concept and the idea and the fact that it's fun, and it's almost like saying, yeah. So you think you can relic a guitar? Look at the state of this.
I often drop a link to one of my videos in the threads when I see people arguing over relics for that reason.
It's just great, absolutely great, really, really good. So thank you so much, Daniel, for
really, it's a pleasure, Mike,
for today. It's been great to meet you. It's been so amazing finally to see this, but also to see the other exquisite work you're doing. There'll be plenty of footage coming up as well of various different bits of guitar and bits of project that you're doing. Please visit Daniel's channel, Devil and Sons Guitar.
Yeah, so basically on any social media, if you look up Devil and Sons, that's the tag for everything, and then the website is devilandsons.guitars,
which will all be in the description down below, because I just think you guys are going to have so much fun. I'm already having a lot of fun, and I only just arrived here, so really thank you so much for today, Daniel. It's a real pleasure to have you on the channel. Go and check him out. Go and check out these incredibly fun builds, as well as some of the other work that is a little more serious. Every single guitar functional, which I just find absolutely incredible given how beautiful they are. And well, what a talented guy you are.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
So what an awesome and interesting guy, and some absolutely incredible guitar designs there. I was just astounded to see the quality of the work, but mostly the incredible imagination that goes into creating stuff like that. I really hope you guys have enjoyed it. As I said earlier, all of the links to Daniel's Devil and Sons guitar will be in the description down below, and I'd really be grateful if you could let him know that you've gone to visit him from seeing this video, because that would be great. And yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed it. So I will be back with the very best content that I can, just as soon as I can. But in the meantime, as always, my friends, you take good care.